E aí, pessoal, tudo certo? Sejam super bem-vindos e bem-vindas ao canal Inglês de Verdade. Hoje preparei algo especial para você turbinar o seu inglês de um jeito prático e divertido. Um mini podcast totalmente em inglês para desafiar o seu listening. E não para por aí. Logo depois de ouvir, você vai responder 5 perguntinhas sobre o que acabou de escutar para testar na prática se entendeu tudinho. Assim, além de treinar seu ouvido, você ainda aumenta o seu vocabulário e fica cada vez mais confiante para entender o inglês da vida real. Ah, e se precisar, é só ativar as legendas em inglês que estão disponíveis no vídeo para não perder nenhum detalhe. Bora começar essa jornada rumo à fluência? Então dá o play e vem comigo!
Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've ever, jumped into learning a new language, you definitely know it's an adventure, full of moments you don't expect.
Oh, definitely.
Some are genuinely funny, others make you just want to crawl under a rock, right? But they're always, always educational.
Always. That's the key.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into those unforgettable language learning mistakes, the epic blunders. Online, people call them micros, which I kind of love. And seriously, if you've made one, you are so not alone. The internet's just full of these stories, learners sharing moments that show, yeah, we're all in this messy thing together.
It makes it feel more human, doesn't it? And honestly, more fun sometimes.
Totally. It takes the pressure off a bit.
Well, yeah. And our mission today is really to unpack why. Why do these common mistakes pop up?
Yeah.
What can they actually tell us about how we acquire language? And how do they make this whole sometimes tough process feel more relatable and, yeah, enjoyable? Because they aren't just funny stories, are they? They're like little windows into how our brains wrestle with new sounds, different meanings. All those linguistic traps.
Yeah, I'm really curious to get into these. And we're not just talking theory here. We've got some specific, really memorable examples, real stories from actual English learners navigating, the beautiful chaos of trying to communicate.
That's a good way to put it. Beautiful chaos.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Get ready for some pretty wild and insightful stories.
Let's do it.
So when we talk about those classic language blunders, there's always one that kind of jumps out first. It seems to cause the most flushed faces, maybe? What's that quintessential mistake we always hear about in forums?
Oh, there's definitely a legendary one. Probably number one for pure embarrassment. Confusing, excited, and horny.
Ah, yes. The classic.
It's just such a perfect example of a false cognate. Words that sound like something in your own language but mean something completely drastically different in English.
Right.
I remember seeing this story shared everywhere. A young woman visiting an American family. They asked if she was excited about an upcoming trip or something. And she wanted to show just how enthusiastic she was. So she beams and says, "I'm so horny."
Oh, no.
The silence, apparently, was just deafening. You could hear a pin drop. You could just feel the awkwardness radiating off that story, can't you?
Ugh, I feel awkward just hearing it. That massive gap between what you mean and what comes out. So the trap there is that tiny sound difference, but this huge leap in meaning.
Exactly. Excited, all about enthusiasm, looking forward to something. Horny, strictly sexual arousal. It's like a linguistic trapdoor you just fall through.
Yeah.
And there's another one, very similar, Rico, from a guy in Australia who was really happy about a party coming up, told his friend, "I'm horny for tomorrow's party."
Oh, dear.
His Aussie friend, of course, just burst out laughing. Took the poor guy days to figure out why it was so funny. A truly international lesson learned the hard way.
It's amazing how common that one is. The social stakes are so high. Okay, sticking with those dangerous false cognates for a second, what's another classic that leads to some pretty shocking and totally untrue announcements?
Right, another really potent false cognate, this one causing accidental pregnancy scares. Loads of online posts talk about this exact thing.
Really?
Yeah. People mistake preocupada, which means worried in Portuguese or Spanish, for pregnant.
Oh, I can see how that could happen.
And the fallout from that can be pretty significant. There's this one specific story. A woman told her foreign boss she was pregnant when she actually meant she was just really stressed out with work.
Oh, my goodness.
Finally, the boss went white as a sheet, completely shocked. She had to backtrack really fast to clarify. It just shows how easily words from your own language, even ones that sound only vaguely similar, can cause serious and, yeah, pretty embarrassing misunderstandings.
Really?
Your brain is just desperately trying to map sounds, and sometimes it gets it spectacularly wrong.
That's just, oh, wow. It really shows how our brains try to find patterns even when maybe they shouldn't. Okay, sometimes it's not the meaning, it's just a tiny little sound that causes the chaos, right? What's a common pronunciation pitfall?
Yeah, this is where homophones get you words that sound alike but have different spellings, different meanings. The classic one here. Sheet versus shit.
Ah, the hotel nightmare scenario.
Exactly. It's super common because the pronunciation difference is subtle, but oh, so critical. Sheet, like for your bed, has that long E sound, like sheet.
Right.
Whereas shit, a vulgar term, has a short E sound, like sheet. Very different vowel.
I can already picture someone asking for the wrong one.
Oh, yeah. The anecdote of someone in a hotel lobby asking, I need shit for my bed instead of sheet. It's a classic for a reason.
The poor receptionist.
Totally understandable confusion, right? Given how shocking the request sounds. It just highlights how important it is not just to learn words, but to really tune your ear to those subtle sound differences and practice your own articulation. One little vowel sound can make a world of difference, socially speaking.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's not just what you say, but sometimes what you hear or mishear. Staying with those tricky sounds and everyday stuff. Let's talk food. Is there a common mix-up when people are ordering?
Oh, yeah. A really common one is mixing up chicken and kitchen. We've all probably heard stories about this, right? Maybe even done it. There's this funny story of a learner in a restaurant saying, I'd like some kitchen, please.
Oh, no. What did the waiter do?
The waiter just looked completely baffled and apparently just kind of pointed toward the actual kitchen.
I love that. You're hungry and you end up asking for the room where they cook it. So why do those two words cause so much trouble?
Well, chicken and kitchen, they do sound pretty similar, especially if English isn't your first language. Plus, when you're ordering food, maybe you're a bit nervous, a bit under pressure.
Sure.
And that can make it harder to grab the right word or say it perfectly clearly. Your brain's juggling a lot. So, yeah, this kind of mistake just underlines how important clear pronunciation is for everyday things. You want the meal, not a tour of the restaurant's back end.
Definitely want the chicken, not the kitchen tour. Okay, and then there are numbers and ages. This seems like another category ripe for potentially awkward declarations. What's a popular story there?
Ah, yeah. One story that gets shared a lot in language learning circles is the 16 versus sexy mix-up.
Oh, that sounds dangerous.
It is.
Yeah.
Imagine being 16 years old trying to tell someone your age, and instead out comes, I'm sexy.
Oh, cringe.
The learner in the story said the person they were talking to just went bright red, and they just wanted the ground to swallow them whole.
Oh, wow. That's rough. Definitely a moment you'd never forget.
Never. And it's another case where sounds that are really close phonetically can trip you up, especially with common details like numbers or personal info you might say quickly or when you're nervous.
Right.
16 has that clear ta sound near the end. The stress is different than sexy. These slips often happen when you're talking fast, maybe feeling a bit anxious, just trying to get the info out without overthinking every single sound. The brain just grabs the closest thing it can find under pressure.
So true. And it's not always about what you say causing the blunder. Sometimes it's about what you hear or don't hear properly. Let's maybe shift gears a bit from speaking errors to listening comprehension issues, those listening micros. Got an example where not quite catching things led to a funny moment.
Yeah, someone shared a great one. I think it was on Reddit about being in a pub in London. You know how fast some people talk there?
Oh, yeah, especially in a noisy pub.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the bartender was apparently going on about football, just super fast, thick accent.
Yeah.
And the learner couldn't understand a word. So they just did the classic nod and smile, kept saying, yeah, of course, yeah.
The universal, I have no idea what you're saying, coping mechanism. Just agree and hope it wasn't important. What happened?
Well, this is a perfect listening, Maiko. Because even if you've studied for years, fast native speech, especially with accents, can be really tough. Your brain's trying to process speed, intonation, maybe slang.
Right.
And the pitfall here, the bartender wasn't talking about football at all. He was asking if the learner wanted to pay his bill or keep a tab open.
Oh, no. So he agreed to pay.
He basically agreed to pay for something he didn't even realize was being discussed. Imagine the relief when he finally figured it out. Must have been huge.
Oh, the sheer panic of realizing that? That's a great example. Okay, here's another fantastic listening, Maiko. This one apparently happened in New York. How did a really simple question get totally mangled?
Right. Someone asked the learner, at a shop counter probably, do you want a bag? Standard question.
Mm-hmm.
But with the noise and maybe the accent, they completely misheard it as, do you want a back?
The back.
Yeah. And their quick, logical, but totally wrong reply was, "No thanks, I already have it back."
That is hilarious. The cashier must have just stared.
Probably. It just shows how context and intonation can be so tricky, right?
Yeah.
And how mishearing just one word can lead to these bizarre, but honestly pretty funny interactions. The brain tries to make sense of the sounds, even if it means creating a weird scenario.
Yeah.
Apparently the cashier laughed so hard they could barely help the next person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, embarrassing for the learner maybe, but memorable and funny for everyone else.
They really are great stories, and sometimes learning one new language can even mess with another language you're trying to learn or speak. Got an example of English sort of taking over.
Yeah, there's a fun story about a Brazilian traveler who was in Paris struggling with French.
Okay.
Whenever she got really stuck, couldn't find the French word, her brain would just default to English. She ended up saying things like, "Bonjour, I want a croissant, please," mixing them up.
That's fascinating. Your brain just grabs the most accessible tool it has, even if it's the wrong one.
Exactly right. It's this really interesting thing that happens. When you're trying hard in a new language and you hit a block, your brain often reaches for the strongest foreign language it knows, even if it's not the right one for that country.
Like a linguistic backup system?
Kind of. A linguistic auto-substitute.
Yeah.
It shows the brain just trying desperately to find any way to communicate, to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
It's not really an English mistake per se, but it's a funny side effect of English often being that stronger default foreign language for many people.
So, okay, whether it's these meaning mix-ups, the sound slip-ups, the listening blunders, or even English popping up where it shouldn't, it all seems to point to this really powerful lesson that comes out of all these sometimes painful stories. The incredible power of making mistakes when you're learning.
That's exactly it. What's really fascinating when you read these stories online is that almost every single one ends with the learner saying something like, "Man, I was so embarrassed, but I learned so much from that." It's the ultimate aha moment, isn't it? Those moments who feel like disasters or just super embarrassing, they're actually what leads to really deep, lasting learning. That emotional punch, the embarrassment, the confusion, it's not just a bad feeling. It acts like this powerful memory aid. Academics sometimes call it desirable difficulty. The struggle itself helps cement the learning way better than just, memorizing lists.
Right. Makes sense.
You are probably never going to confuse excited and horny again after making that mistake because your brain has built this vivid, multi-sensory memory around it, these micros. They're not just stumbling blocks. They're like the cement holding your fluency together.
It's a great way to think about it. So if you take one thing away from this deep dive today, maybe it's this. Learning a new language is always going to be full of stumbles, mispronunciations, and those epic blunders. But the micros, they aren't failures. Not at all. They're actually essential steps. You kind of need them to get fluent.
Absolutely.
And honestly, they often make the best stories later on, don't they?
They really do. And if we zoom out a bit, these stories just prove that you haven't really engaged with the language until you've stepped out of your comfort zone and made some truly memorable mistakes. They're proof that you're actually trying, experimenting, pushing your own limits. The real learning, the deep stuff, it happens when you're willing to be a bit vulnerable, to try, and to be brave enough to mess up sometimes.
Exactly. So what does all this mean for you as you're on your own English journey? Maybe the big question isn't always, am I making progress? Maybe sometimes it's, okay, what new, possibly hilarious blunder am I going to make today that'll be tomorrow's great story?
Yeah. Embrace the potential for a good story.
Embrace the messiness, embrace the micros, and just know that every laugh, every blush, every moment of, what did I just say? It's all just another step towards getting really fluent. You got this.
E aí, como foi? Conseguiu entender bem o nosso podcast de hoje? Espero que você tenha curtido esse treino de listening e que as perguntas tenham te ajudado a fixar ainda mais o vocabulário novo. Lembre-se, errar faz parte do aprendizado. Então não desanima se não acertou tudo. O importante é praticar sempre. Se você gostou desse formato, já deixa o seu like, se inscreve no canal Inglês de Verdade e ativa o sininho para não perder nenhum conteúdo novo. Conta aqui nos comentários como você se saiu e qual tema gostaria de ouvir nos próximos podcasts. Adoro saber a opinião de vocês. Até o próximo vídeo e bora continuar nessa jornada rumo à fluência.
E se você assistiu até aqui e quer aprender inglês sem gastar um centavo durante todo o processo de aprendizagem, com acesso a ferramentas, atalhos e mentoria que vai fazer com que você absorva o inglês de forma rápida e natural, eu te convido a conhecer o método dos 9 Passos para a Fluência, onde você vai conhecer a forma correta de aprender um inglês
Now we can go in the water.
com acesso a ferramentas que irão te auxiliar nesse aprendizado. E o melhor, todas encontradas de forma gratuita. E entre essas ferramentas, uma você usará para manter contato com nativos do inglês para que sua prática de conversação seja mais eficaz. Porque nada melhor do que absorver o inglês diretamente da fonte. E quando eu digo que essas ferramentas são gratuitas, eu não quero dizer que apenas o primeiro mês será grátis, como degustação, e que se você quiser continuar usando, você terá que pagar. Todas as ferramentas que serão apresentadas a você nesse método são gratuitas para o resto da vida, até quando você quiser usar. Esse método é perfeito para você que não tem ideia de como e por onde começar e para você que já tem um conhecimento em inglês, mas ainda não conquistou a fluência. Nele você será apresentado a atalhos que vão acelerar seu aprendizado que estudantes que estão começando não fazem ideia que existem. 99% das pessoas que colocarem esse método em prática, seguindo passo a passo, conseguirão realizar seu sonho de se tornar fluente em inglês. Então, se você acha que finalmente chegou a hora de realizar seu sonho e dominar de vez o inglês, clique no primeiro link da descrição, que eu tenho certeza que você não vai se arrepender.